Over the last 4 years, my SEO agency has grossed over $400,000. I now have a team of over 8 people that work with me on a weekly basis, and we've helped dozens of clients show up higher in Google, get featured in the map pack, and be recommended by ChatGPT. And if I lost everything tomorrow and I had to start over from scratch, there's just 3 things I would focus on, and that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in this video. If you're trying to go faster in a car, you might look at your speedometer, but you're also going to notice your tachometer going up, and that has to do with your RPM. In this video, I'm going to teach you about the RPM, and I'm going to teach you how to take your web design business from feast or famine to stable income in just 3 easy steps. Let's get into it. And let's start with the R, which is relationships. If I were to start over from scratch, I would join a referral networking group. My referral networking group is called Team Referral Network. Shout out to Team. In your area, you probably have one. It may be a BNI, which is the biggest one in the country, or it might be something smaller. What I encourage you to do is find each one in your area, visit it 1 or 2 times, however many you can for free, and find the group that jives with you the most. The benefit of these groups is not getting leads from the people in the group, but actually by getting connections to their network. Also, these people are already plugged in with the business community in your area. And so showing up, they're going to tell you which networking groups to go to, which ones are the most valuable to join. And that's super valuable when you're first getting started out. And so the second part of building relationships is to find the best networking groups to attend. For me, it's been chamber events in Central Oregon. I've become super plugged into the Redmond Chamber. I even did a lunch and learn for the chamber last week. We'll be posting the replay soon. And so I'll just point there for when the link's ready. But I've gotten a massive amount of return on investment by being involved in the chamber. And it's not so much about getting the return on investment. Again, it's about building the relationships, because that's the way you really grow a marketing agency. At the end of the first year, are people going to continue to work with you? It's totally dependent on whether or not you built a true relationship with them. Yeah, results are great, but relationships are even better. And that brings me to the last piece of relationships, which is power partners. Power partners can be photographers, videographers, social media people, business coaches, people that work with your clients. And by the way, I'm going to steal a term from my web design coach, Josh Hall, co-opetition. Go find the other web designers and the agency owners in your area and talk to them, because that gal that specializes in logos might refer you SEO clients. That guy that does AI automations, he might refer SEO clients to you. We want to be friends with our competition, and we can grow together. It's actually super awesome. All right, so if I want to grow back to 400,000 as fast as possible, relationships would be the first thing I do. But the next thing I would work on is people. People are super important if you want to build a business and not a job. A lot of web designers like to build jobs where they make really good websites and can make a decent amount of money, but they don't have something that they could sell at the end, that they can hand down at the end. There really has no value at the end. The nice thing about growing a lean and mean agency is you end up having an asset at the end of this that you can either pass down to somebody or potentially even sell. So that way your hard work actually equals something in the end. But to be able to do that, you need to get help around you. And the first step to that has nothing to do with other people, but it has to do with systems. As soon as you start working, you need to take systems and you need to get them out of your brain and into either Google Docs or Notion or ClickUp or Asana. It doesn't really matter where you put it. Like even a Loom video, just start getting them out of your brain. Now, if you need help with this, use coaches. If you need help with your web design SOPs, you should be taking Josh Hall's business course, because he teaches you how to build websites in a systematic process. If you need help with SEO systems, you should be in Local SEO Academy, and you should be copying and pasting those SOPs that help build our agency to our first and second 6 figures. And then once you have your systems written down, then it's time to finally get some help. And that brings me to the second point, which is you need to make sure you train people. One of the biggest mistakes I made is I did not train my first hires. I just figured I would bring people in and they would figure it out. That's not how it works. You got to train people on the way you do things. In our agency, we call it the then can way. And I have to teach all my new team members when they come in what the then can way is, because what we do is different than what other agencies do. And that's what makes us valuable. If you've hired the right person and you really train them, then they can help bolster your systems and make them better and more efficient over time. That brings me to the last point, which is clearly defined roles. As soon as you can, sit down and write an org chart of all the positions you'd like to have in your business, and then write down specific roles for each one of those positions. And then periodically review these positions and make sure they have the right roles. I'm literally doing this right now in my business. I've kind of been slacking on it, but I'm doing it right now in my business because we've grown and things have changed. And if you have clearly defined roles, it helps when you need to replace people. I hate to break it to you, but not everybody's going to work with you forever. We recently had one of our best people moved on for a really awesome opportunity and we needed to get a new person in that role. And because we had it clearly defined, the person's been kicking butt. They haven't even been here for 90 days and it feels like they've been working with us for a year because they're totally integrated. They locked right in and now they're even helping make the systems better. Hey, we're back to point number 2. So if you're trying to build a business and not a job, don't forget to have the systems, to train people on those systems, and then to really make sure they have clearly defined roles so they can help making those systems more efficient over time. All right, so we're talking about the RPM, we talked about the relationships, we talked about the people, and now it's time to talk about the M, which is more sales. I kind of just wanted to say sales, but this kept the acronym going. Just stick with me, people. Look, it's simple economics. If you can get more sales, then you're going to be able to grow your business. If you get no sales, I hate to say it, but you don't have a business. You just have a fun hobby where you sometimes build websites. So how do you get more sales? Well, the first thing you need to do is you need to do lead generation. Now, I talked about how you can do it kind of in person by building these relationships, but there's also ways where you need to get these real people into your funnel. I like to say it's good to have a high pressure lead magnet and a low pressure lead magnet. If it's starting to pique your interest, I actually have a sales course in Local SEO Academy where I break all this down. You should probably check that out, but not yet because I got a couple more things to share with you. And after you generate the lead, the big thing is you want to nurture them in your pipeline. Look, the dollars and cents are made in the follow-up. If you're not following up, you don't have a system for follow-up, you will lose tens of thousands of dollars. So you have to make sure you're following up. And the whole goal of all of these follow-ups is to make sure you get on the sales call. And that's the last piece. If you can get better at the sales call, I guarantee you will make more money. This is the greatest bottleneck of your business that you can control. Look, most web designers are not salespeople by trade. Look, if you used to be a used car salesman or used to sell something else in your past life, congratulations, you're way ahead of most of us. But if you've never held a sales role before, you're probably most uncomfortable by the sales call. But think about it this way. If you're having 6 sales calls per quarter and you're only closing 1 client out of that, maybe if you're selling high ticket SEO services, that client might be worth $12,000. But if you're only getting 4 clients per year, that's about $50,000 for the year, which used to be a pretty respectable number, but hamburgers cost $20 now. And so it's really not enough. Now, what if you still had 6 sales calls in the quarter, but you were able to close 3 deals? And by the end of the year, you had 12 clients. Well, that's $150,000. And maybe that's not enough to live off of where I live, but in most places, that's at least a decent wage and we can start building a business off of that. Now, you're probably rightfully thinking, Sam, how am I going to go from 1 closed sales call to 3 closed sales calls overnight? Well, you're not, but there's a skill that you can build by getting better at the sales call. Now, you might be thinking a 50% close rate seems pretty astronomical, but it's not that insane because if you're bringing in highly qualified people to these calls and every person you're talking to is somebody that you could be working with, then it really is just your ability to sell. But a lot of times in life, it's just because you don't have the systems to improve. Look, I've been working very, very hard on the Local SEO Sales Engine course that's going to be inside of Local SEO Academy. And for a limited time, I'm unleashing the sales call module for free. It's the first link in the description and it's going to break down my 11-level process to going through the sales call and helping you close more sales. Again, this is the biggest bottleneck of your business that you can control. There you have it. If I needed to build my business from scratch, that's the RPM I would follow. I would really focus on relationships. I would try to make sure I'm getting the right people around me, and I would focus on getting more sales. Look, if you're a web designer and you're stuck in the feast or famine cycle, I get it. That's where I was at a year in my business. I almost quit because of that. But having stable income, having people around me, that has changed the game. And so if you need help with that, if you want support, if you want community, that's exactly why I created Local SEO Academy. That first link in the description, it's actually going to take you to our best deal that we have right now. So you're going to get some percentage off for the first month. And our price is going to go up incrementally throughout the year. But if you get in, you lock in your price. So I'm going to encourage you to get in as soon as you can. All right, whether you're driving towards your first 6 figures or you're speeding to your second, I'm encouraging you to not forget about your RPM. And if you need help closing more sales, then check out the sales call module. First link in the description. I'll catch you in the module.